The main character of the story, Jiang Cheng, was reborn in the fantasy world. The young man assumed that he would be able to unlock the software module at the very beginning, like everyone else. The young man was inspired by such an idea. He dreamed of rolling mountains, and the idea came to his head to overcome more than 10,000 people. Jiang Cheng considered everyone else to be just pathetic bugs who were afraid of him. However, the reality turned out to be cruel. The young man was on the verge of life and death. Hungry and helpless, he was simply left to die in the Forbidden Lands. With his last breath, Jiang Cheng desperately begged for the revival system to appear. Only after death did the hero have a basis for cultivation. He was granted the invincible system, which gave Jiang Cheng such advantages as 100 million lives, and after each kill he would be brought back to life within 1 minute, and a survival plan would be developed for him that would lead to victory. Thus, the system reminds the young man of the value of life, having felt all its charms. After thinking about it, the hero decided that 1,000,000 lives allow him to be resurrected endlessly, and the system wants Jiang Cheng to improve through death. Further, the system identified the cause of the owner's death, dehydration, and has already begun to develop a survival plan. She awarded the young man the status of indestructible body, which he was very happy about. This status includes life without restrictions in anything, the highest level of cultivation, the maximum range of energy absorption, automatic training and energy absorption, and many other advantages. Things like mystery and depth, longevity, and heaven are not one of the 5 elements, because they are on a completely different level. The main character liked such significant improvements, he even thought that it would get even better in the future. Jiang Cheng has finally resurrected with his already new, excellent system. The hero did not believe his luck. After all, he was incredibly strong now and had many advantages. His next move was to pretend to be a weakling and take over all 3 realms, at the same time promising that despite all the privileges he will work hard. Jiang Cheng didn't rejoice for long. Disappointment overtook him when he realized that he had no spiritual power at all. The young man was furious and began to think that some kind of mistake had occurred. After all, it is impossible to cultivate without spiritual power. The system showed that despite the indestructible body, there was absolutely no supernatural power, as well as power and combat skills. The hero realized that in fact there are practically no changes. He was desperate and wanted to go back. Jiang Cheng grumbled at his system, asking for help to find him a way out. The young man felt unhappy and deprived. The next day, Jiang Cheng was so depressed that he was even going to commit suicide if the system didn't help him get out. But he quickly came to his senses as soon as he remembered that if the owner wanted to commit suicide, the device would respect his choice and disable the resurrection function. Time flew by unnoticed. Several days have passed since then. The hero was extremely angry. He said that the Almighty had treated him unfairly because he could not get out of this place and would not forgive him even if he sent him a beautiful girl. Suddenly, a bright flash appeared in the sky like a shooting star. In front of Jiang Cheng was a girl in a purple dress and with long blonde hair. The hero was very excited at the sight of such beauty. The young lady looked adorable. The young man immediately drew attention to her sweet face and wonderful eyes like stars. The lady was surprised when she saw the main character. She confusedly asked who he was. In turn, Jiang Cheng, noticing the sharp blade at his throat, which the girl could use if she only wanted to, jokingly introduced himself as a younger brother. In fact, he was not at all afraid and only dreamed of dying at the hands of such a beautiful lady. The girl was amazed by the behavior of a young man unknown to her. At the same moment, the system notified the guy that it was not worth asking others for help in committing suicide, because this would also lead to the resurrection function being disabled. Jiang Cheng did not expect this. He began to grumble at his system again. Due to the fact that the main character did not want to lose the function of resurrection, he politely asked the stranger not to kill him. This surprised the girl again, because she saw a handsome guy in him, and now the young man behaved absurdly. Jiang Cheng told his newfound acquaintance that he had to become a villain and attract people's attention so that they would kill him of their own free will. Therefore, he began to molest the girl to provoke her anger, and it worked. The young lady considered the guy just a pervert and was seriously determined to kill Jiang Cheng. There was an unexpected meeting. A young woman surrounded by a retinue of 3 men interrupted the conversation between Jiang Cheng and a stranger who had fallen to him from the sky. The arriving company scared the companion of the main character. They shouted that they had finally found her and wouldn't let her move. Yao Yunxuan, a woman with a high tail of dark hair, dressed like a real warrior, indignantly told the girl to put up with it. She really inspired greatness and power. Herons were depicted on the white sleeves of her dress, and her eyes expressed confidence and severity. Jiang Cheng, who paid special attention to the domineering woman, thought that they had come to save his beauty. Unexpectedly, Yao Yunxuan addressed the girl from the sky by name. She named her Jia Linghai. Yao Yunxuan mentioned that the one she was addressing did not let her destroy the Fakesang clan, and last year defeated and disgraced her in front of 7 sects. It became clear that there was a long-standing feud between the two. At the same moment, Jiang Cheng realized that these people had clearly not come with good intentions. Jia Linghai exclaimed to Yao Yunxuan that she wanted to kill her and the entire Fakesang clan. The 3 men who came with Yao Yunxuan were for one with their mistress and supported the idea of dealing with Jia Linghai. With threatening expressions and mocking smiles, they inspired fear and were already ready to get down to business. It suddenly occurred to Jiang Cheng that this was a great chance to die without resorting to suicide. He stood in front of Jia Linghai and said that first let the uninvited guests overcome him. The young man said this with all confidence and determination. But Yao Yunxuan only asked him to mind his own business. A strict woman with a high tail did not understand where this young man came from at all, interfering with solving the issue with Jia Linghai. And then Jiang Cheng decided to cheat. He called himself a true man who, after many years of traveling, got tired of the eternal disputes between the 3 kingdoms and decided to go into a lull, interrupting access to cultivation. Stunned by what they heard, the men could not believe that such a creature could exist. And Yao Yunxuan thought that a true person might well be suitable as her pet. She ordered her subordinates to beat Jiang Cheng to a pulp and bring him to her feet. Yao Yunxuan's subjects were not against such an idea and only said that they would fulfill the young man's dream. Everything was going according to Jiang Cheng's plan. The hero, without a shadow of doubt, asked the men to demonstrate 3 fighting techniques to him. Yao Yunxuan's subordinates, who were already ready to explode with anger, struck the first blow. At this time, Jia Linghai was worried about her big brother and begged not to run into the wrath of opponents. The girl did not understand why Jiang Cheng was so eager to experience 3 dangerous techniques. Jiang Cheng died with the first blow and rejoiced that everything was going as he had planned. His companion was horrified and could not believe that the newly made acquaintance had fallen so quickly and stupidly. Yao Yunxuan's subordinates enjoyed their successful attack. But their mistress was angered by such a rash act of her subjects, because she did not want Jiang Cheng's death. The enraged Jia Linghai was already on alert. She couldn't understand how they could do this to an ordinary stupid guy. At this time, Jiang Cheng's system was already developing a new survival plan. His cultivation base has increased. The young man gained new powers and increased different levels of combat skills. The hero admired his successfully executed plan. When Yao Yunxuan and his subjects were ready to deal with Jia Linghai, Jiang Cheng suddenly resurrected for everyone. He had a confident expression on his face and an incredible power emanated from the guy, inspiring fear. His executioners were horrified, and Jia Linghai was delighted and charmed by her savior. Those who killed Jiang Cheng took up their swords again, saying they would destroy him again. But this time the battle turned in favor of the main character, because having received the forces of the Moon sect at a high level, he could give a worthy rebuff to his opponents. Yao Yunxuan was furious. She did not understand where the young man got the secret techniques of her sect. Jiang Cheng only replied to her that one should not be so hostile to people in their cultivation. The unshakable Yao Yunxuan, embittered to the limit, decided to end the insolent youth, but now he was stronger. Having quickly dealt with the villainess's assistance, Jiang Cheng went to her herself. Helpless and almost defeated, Yao Yunxuan was in a desperate situation. Our hero Jiang Cheng was about to deliver the final blow to her, when suddenly a blinding flash of light appeared in the sky. Unpredictably, the angry head of the Moon sect, Yao Qilan, appeared. An elderly man with a long gray beard, Yao Qilan, turned out to be Yao Yunxuan's father. A formidable parent will not allow his daughter to be offended now. Yao Yunxuan told her father that Jiang Cheng had killed 3 of their sect and was now threatening her. After the words of his daughter, Yao Qilan was seriously determined to deal with the offender of his heiress. After all, such behavior was insulting to the entire Moon sect. Although Yao Qilan is a master of the Soul Realm, Jiang Cheng had no trouble dealing with him. He did it with just one punch, and Jia Linghai believed in her hero all the time and supported him. Now he was her protector and companion. After defeating the head of the Moon sect, it was his turn to deal with his daughter. Shaking with fear, Yao Yunxuan was easy to overcome. After doing this, Jiang Cheng received armor from the Yao family, as well as talismans and spirit stones. Such bonuses gave the young man even more positive emotions. The inspired hero now thinks that he is the real king of treasures. Now he turns to Jiang, hinting that it's time to thank him for saving his life. The girl thinks that the savior is a member of the Moon sect, because he used her secret techniques. In a good mood, after the victory, Jiang Cheng calls himself a self-taught deity who is well versed in all spheres of life, and the use of sect techniques is only one of his abilities. Jiang was delighted to learn so many talents from her older brother. Now she considered herself his follower. The girl completely trusted the young man. It was possible to rely on him. Jiang Cheng gives her the first test, asks her to keep his secret about his resurrection ability, to which the obedient sister instantly agrees. Jiang had a request for his teacher to help the Feixuan clan. After all, the followers of the Moon sect destroyed the girl's clan. They killed all her compatriots and also constantly terrorized people. At the same moment, Jiang Cheng received a notification from the system, or rather, a system task. It was to unite the three kingdoms and join the sect. The young man immediately thought that system tasks have good advantages, namely, such that if the owner joins the sect, he will no longer need to worry about a place for cultivation, and this will bring a lot of system points that can be used to improve the system or receive a reward system. After reflecting on his successful upgrade, the guy decided to try whether it was possible to change attributes for points, as well as for system rewards. Seeing the weak exchange ratio, Jiang Cheng was disappointed and angry at his system. Interrupting the main character's thoughts, the worried Jiang decided to find out if anything had happened to her brother. The girl told that old cultists can develop dementia. Jiang, at the sight of her teacher talking to himself, inadvertently thought about Jiang Chen's terrible diagnosis. But the young man rejected her thoughts. The proud guy could not even imagine that a young lady could think so about him. She could only repent. After all the anxious thoughts, Jiang Cheng returned to his follower's request. He said that, no matter what, he would help the girl achieve justice, and justice in relation to her clan. But he added that he had one condition. Jiang was very embarrassed by such a statement, because the lady decided that her brother was up to something obscene. But the girl was not frightened by this outcome of events. She was ready to do anything for the sake of the tragically deceased family. Jiang gave out that she agreed to such a condition, and that she was even prepared in advance for classes of this kind. I just asked my older brother not to go too far. Surprised by this conclusion, Jiang Cheng called himself a decent person and that he had no such thoughts. Of course, the guy was stunned by such a statement. The condition was to allow Jiang Cheng to become the head of the Feixuan clan. Jiang was amazed to learn the real rule of the contract, because her clan had recently been destroyed. The girl wanted to warn Jiang Cheng that taking on the role of the head of the clan, you can end up in the abyss. But remembering the strength and intelligence of the guy, Jiang concluded that he could handle everything. She could trust the young man to save her native Feixuan. After hurrying the girl to a decision, Jiang knelt before the new head of the Feixuan clan, saying the oath of allegiance. At the same moment, the system notified the guy about the completion of the join the sect task and the crediting of points in the amount of 500. She also congratulated the owner on his new status. Jiang Cheng also received 4,000 points for a new acquaintance who had already become his follower, who liked him very much. The system level has increased to the second, while opening the lottery game function. Inspired by his success, Jiang Cheng, confident of victory, decided to play for 1,000 points. The lottery draw gave the main character a special skill, insight. Jiang Cheng began to think about the purpose of such a skill and hurried to use it, because the unknown always beckoned. Activating his insight, the young man saw a bright golden light indicating the location of an unknown treasure. A joyful Jiang Cheng, without hesitation, decided to go to the place marked with light. Surprised, Jiang began to ask where her older brother was going. Would he really leave the girl here alone? The new head of the clan strictly ordered Jiang to stay in place and not go anywhere, explaining his departure by the need to buy something. And even more so, he will not leave the girl chosen by the deity himself. She was dear to him now. Left alone, the young lady did not understand the words spoken by the guy a little, because it was difficult to understand him. A blinding blue flash transported Jiang Cheng to the supposed location of the treasure. Not understanding the essence of the new ability, the young man asked for help from the system. She informed the owner that 500 points had to be paid for the system's response function, and immediately removed them. The remaining 2,000 points threw Jiang Cheng into a rage because he accidentally and stupidly lost his glasses. Despite his recent disappointment, the young man received information about the treasure he was looking for. It was the artifact Heart of the World. Not really understanding the hint from the system, the guy decided to look at his find. Unexpectedly, Jiang Cheng was surrounded by magical rays of rainbow colors. The surprised hero decided that such special effects speak of an incredibly high level of his acquired treasure. An unknown explosion led the young man to death. It happened at the place where Jiang Cheng wanted to find his treasure. Therefore, he didn't really understand what had happened. It turned out that the cause of the owner's death was due to the too powerful impulse of the new artifact. Jiang Cheng acquired a previously unknown skill, breathing. Also, the system reminded the young man that he can be resurrected only once a day. Therefore, if he dies again, there will be no way back. With sharp claps of a small child's hand, accompanied by the words used to address the mother, Jiang Cheng was resurrected. A little girl was sitting in front of the stricken guy. She looked like a princess, 2 ponytails of wheat hair, which complemented the sparkling children's eyes, and a lovely curl was visible on the very top of her head. The girl was wearing a cute dress with long sleeves and slightly open shoulders. The astonished protagonist thought that this was the form of his newly acquired treasure, but he really didn't understand why the artifact appeared before him in the form of a little girl. An unknown child, with an enthusiastic expression on his face, called Jiang Cheng mommy and tremblingly asked to hug him. When the guy asked why the Heart of the World was sitting in front of him in the image of a little girl, the system took 500 points from him, saying that this was one of the forms of the artifact. But Jiang Cheng had already guessed before, so he was very angry at another unfair removal of his glasses. After all, he did not ask the system to respond at all. But there is nothing to be done. You should be more careful in the spoken words. The child kept calling Jiang Cheng mommy and asking for a hug. The hero thought that the girl was just stupid, since she calls a man and appeal to a woman, but noted her pleasant and cute appearance. This form of his artifact only pleased the eye. Jiang Cheng politely asked the girl to call him daddy rather than mommy because it's logical. But the child did not stop, calling the guy as before. Jiang Cheng and the little princess, who were already fooling around, noticed the excited Jai Linghai in front of them. The girl was very worried because she felt a powerful flow of energy that made her worry about her head. But she was incredibly glad that everything was fine with the guy. Jiang Cheng only added that it was created by a little girl sitting on his neck. Jai Linghai called the new head a master at finding beautiful things, because this treasure is simply amazing. Quite a rare and powerful artifact, and even in such a wonderful form. The little girl wanted to ask Jiang Cheng about who this girl who appeared in front of them was. The guy replied that it would be better to find out from Jai Linghai herself, thereby encouraging the unusual shape of the artifact to talk to his follower. With a friendly smile, the girl tried to find out the child's name, but the girl suddenly threw Jai Linghai aside with just one flash from her eyes. It was a fierce and quite hard push. In perplexity, Jiang Cheng did not understand why his new artifact behaved so hostile. He ran up to the fallen girl and began asking the girl how to save the dear follower, to which she, with an innocent expression on her face, replied that she had extracted all the useful knowledge from her. So the 2-week Jai Linghai temporarily lost consciousness. Since the little girl now knew everything about the girl, Jiang Cheng suggested discussing useful information about Jai Linghai. With joy, the child told the hero that the girl hails from the Qingliu mansion from Feixuan, and there are 8 small forces and 2 large ones in the house itself. She also added that Feixuan belongs to one of the 8 main forces. At this, Jiang Cheng interrupted the girl, saying that he already knew all this. He asked me to call him daddy again, because he is a man. But the child again ignored it, continuing in his spirit. Resigned to the fate of mommy, Jiang Cheng decided to give his newly made daughter a name, Dahuan. The girl categorically did not like it, to which the young man said that he would change it if she called him dad. But the baby continued to call daddy mommy, offended by her new name. Jiang Cheng did not have time to finish his thought, as unknown enemies began to approach the heroes. A previously unknown male voice was furiously asking about who killed his daughter. Suspicions fell on the main character, who has already run out of resurrections for today. The frightened Jiang Cheng did not expect the appearance of ill-wishers so soon and was clearly terrified. A furious elderly man threatened Jiang Cheng to destroy him because he had killed his daughter. The main character was in turmoil and did not understand at all what to do next. Immediately, the system reminded that 500 points can be removed for any questions, so you should be more careful even in your thoughts. Nevertheless, she withdrew the agreed fee, answering the owner that if he was killed again, the system would simply find another owner. Jiang Cheng was furious. He thought the system was stupid because she again took off points for a stupid question, leaving him with 1,000 points. The hero came to the conclusion that now he needs to focus on the enemies who have arrived. After all, one of them was most likely defeated by Jiang Cheng earlier, Yao Yunxuan's father. Their forces are equal, which means the chances of winning were 50/50. Behind him were two more followers of the Moon Sect, who should not be ignored, because they looked like serious opponents. The old man standing behind Yao Qilan asked his elder to wait, and not engage in battle yet, but to start asking Jiang Cheng questions. Having stopped the formidable father, Yao Qilan's subordinates began to question the young man. One of them asked the guy if he knew the reason for the recent surge of energy, and the other only threatened, reminding him of his strong patron, who was ready to strike at any moment. From such actions, Jiang Cheng only became more wary, because it is unlikely that they will sit idly by when the elder's daughter's killer is right in front of them. Then he turned around and remembered about his sisters, and especially about Dahyun, who was the most powerful surge of energy. Quickly realizing, Jiang Cheng informed the members of the Moon Sect that an unknown phoenix, which is a recent pulse of energy, flew in the direction known to him. The guy started hurrying the men and assuring them that they should catch up with him. The subordinates of Elder Yao believed the young man's words, telling Yao Qilan that he would still have time to avenge himself. The main old man agreed with them, having already set out to go after the treasure together, because the cultivation base of Yao Qilan's followers was smaller than his own. He simply could not allow them to take risks. Jiang Cheng was disappointed that they believed him so easily, because he considered them strong opponents. Meanwhile, baby Dahyun was struck by the comparison of her with a bird, so she expressed her bewilderment aloud. Her caring father immediately caught himself and covered the girl's mouth with his hands, because her words were dangerous. The dumbfounded and instantly angry members of the Moon Sect understood Jiang Chen's evil intent, and had already forced him to prepare for death. Dahyun began to get angry, because unknown three old men want to kill her mom. Jiang Cheng caught this moment and complained to his little girl about evil enemies who really wanted him dead. He had a plan in his head on how to quickly deal with the annoying followers of the sect, and he was in Dahyun, who had enough strength to get rid of them quickly. Surprisingly, the girl gave out that she was limited by heaven and could not kill people right, and left. Jiang Cheng was angry at this because her appearance ruined him, and then he did not notice the limitations on the part of heaven. The little girl replied that she was very scared then, and now the tone of her mom is straining her. Despite everything, Dahyun agreed to help mom, saying that she was very perceptive and careful. The unusual shape of the artifact can even suppress the enemy's cultivation base and make them ordinary people. Jiang Cheng only wished her luck, he didn't doubt her strength. Jumping into the air, Dahyun was able to suppress the energy of the sect's followers with just one swipe of her finger. The opponents did not immediately realize the loss of their strength, going to deliver a fatal blow. They noticed that all their will was gone. The members of the sect were scared and could not imagine their further actions. Encouraged, Jiang Cheng continued the fight. He used the powerful technique of the Moon Sect, which burst out like thunder, instantly destroying all the opponents, not giving them a chance to escape. It was a quick and undeniable victory of the main character. He concluded that the one who is tired of endless cultivation and begins to chase the benefits of fame, only such an outcome awaits. Jiang Cheng decided to take his well-deserved rewards, taking away their valuables from the defeated. But, as it turned out, the members of the Moon Sect were not rich in much. This disappointed the hero. Interrupting Daddy, Dahyun informed him that she was hungry and pulled the young man by his clothes. He was embarrassed, because the unusual shape of the new artifact is reaching for his chest, which means he will ask for milk, which Jiang Cheng did not have. The children's form of the fragment heart of the world reminded her mommy that she wants to eat. Jiang Cheng began to cover his chest with his hands, saying that he had no milk and could not have it. This confused the guy a lot. Disappointed in the stupidity of the owner, Dahyun said that she needed spiritual stones for nutrition, because she was the heart of the world. The stunned guy said that he could not get the baby these stones, because in the mountains where they were, they simply did not exist. In fact, Jiang Cheng hid quite a lot of spiritual stones that he got from winning and completing system tasks. The hero agreed to give them to Dahyun, who deserved a reward for her help in a recent fight. But this time, Jai Linghai finally woke up, who completely did not understand what was happening. The young man explained to her that a low level of energy in her body had led her to such a state. The girl immediately realized that the head was talking about spiritual power. Jiang Cheng told a follower that in humans it is similar to blood sugar levels. The more successful a person is, the higher the sugar level. He said this with an imperturbably serious face, as if he had told a secret. But for Jiang, any information brought from the world of people was something new and unknown. She wanted to listen and remember, and the teacher's voice was forced to believe and accept every word for truth. Therefore, she recorded everything said by the head of the clan. Looking at the defeated followers of the Moon Sect, the lady was seriously surprised. She called their names Yao Qilan, Daizin, Hemingway. All three were masters of the Soul Realm, and now they looked pitiful, defeated by a very young cultivator Jiang Cheng. In the eyes of the girl, the head became even higher, even more impressive and majestic. Now she had hoped to save the most precious thing her family and clan. She has long relied on a recently familiar guy, and now on a new clava of the clan and a great cultivator. Jiang Cheng called himself a deity. He promised his follower to help repel the attacks of ill-wishers on the Feixuan clan, and the girl believed him implicitly. Before leaving the battlefield, the hero found his little artifact fully fed and asleep. There was nothing left but to carry, satisfied with the treats, Dahuan on his back. The baby had already fallen deeply asleep, having eaten the spiritual stones of the owner. It was a well-deserved rest. Jiang Cheng said that as soon as they leave these lands, they will immediately go to Feixuan. It's time to fulfill the promises. Now he was the new head of this defeated clan, so he was responsible for him. Jiang only had to trust the leader and follow him, because he was her last hope. It was the dead of night. Having stopped at the pass, the heroes had to start cultivating. But Jiang Cheng began to spread a powerful and strong energy that felt more than 10 miles away. She inspired fear and power of the owner. Jiang couldn't help but pay attention to this. She continued to wonder at the young man's abilities and strength. After coming to his senses, Jiang Cheng began to ask his companions why they were not cultivating. And Dahuan replied that with such a strong energy nearby, it was impossible. Then, the young man suggested Jiang to cultivate together, because then a pair cultivation could turn out, which would accelerate the progress of both and bring their powers closer together. But the girl refused, because she does not want to interfere with the head and is ready to wait until he finishes. Finally, the heroes arrived at the Feixuan clan. A terrifying picture rose up before them. The defeated members of the clan were everywhere, and their families were shedding tears over them, who swore to avenge their relatives. It looked sad and pathetic. The Feixuan clan does not deserve such a fate. The crying girls recognized Jiang. The representatives of the remaining clan, named Luo Yuan and Su'er, joyfully ran to meet their friend. They could not believe their eyes and could not stop crying from the joy of meeting. An elder of the Feixuan clan appeared. The old man looked tired and exhausted, but the events they lived through spoke for themselves. He asked the newly arrived Jiang about other clan members she might have seen, because it is important to keep in touch between compatriots, regardless of the distance. The girl did not meet anyone, so she answered Elder Liang. 2 men came, one of the survivors of the Feixuan clan. They told that 20 followers escaped, and only the one who is now seen by the arriving guests survived from the elders. The men also recalled the enemy clans that doomed them to such a miserable existence. This is the sect of the moon, the sect of Xuanbing, Ule, Tanyang. They pronounced the names with all their hatred and bitterness, with which they only had enough strength. Unexpectedly, the surviving members of the clan gathered, began to complain about the difficult fate of Feixuan. Anger and a desire for revenge played on everyone's face. Someone said that he would not be able to live on without taking revenge on all the offenders of the clan. Someone said that they should regroup and attack it all, and they could all be understood. Each of them had a family, relatives and friends, as well as their enemies, those whom they curse and hate the most. In the end, the lively dispute was interrupted by the head of the clan himself. Demanding silence, the elder made it clear that there is no need to wait for revenge and we need to act now. It was impossible to delay any longer. His plan was to establish ties with the head of the Duanmu clan, who is quite strong. He would be an excellent support for the disintegrated Feixuan. After all, it will be very difficult for them to fight back. Noticing the hesitation of the followers, Elder Liang reminded that at such a crucial moment there is no need to doubt, because if their words about revenge are not empty chatter, then you should gather all your strength and execute the proposed plan. The inspiring speech of the head instilled confidence in all members of the clan. They agreed with every word of their leader and were ready to follow him, because this was their last chance. Everyone was so eager to find the long-awaited freedom and prosperity. The brave Jiang decided to have her say. The girl did not consider it necessary to ask for Duanmu's help. She introduced Jiang Cheng as the new head of the clan, because she herself initiated him and took the oath. The proud and confident young man inspired everyone with his strength and ability to protect. But the old head of Liang was clearly against the new leader because while he was alive, this was unacceptable. Jia Linghai, being devoted to him herself, described Jiang Cheng as a strong and reliable leader who would definitely solve their problems and help them take revenge. The words of the young lady did not affect the elder in any way. He did not know this guy and could not entrust the clan to him. Then Jiang Cheng himself intervened in the conversation. He was already tired of this argument. The young man will need only a couple of moments to overcome all the ill-wishers of the clan, which is why he can take the place of the head. To prove his status, Jiang Cheng was ready to join the fight. It was a dangerous idea, but you can prove your strength only by actions, not words. The followers of the clan brought the new head to the place of battle. There, different clans, the strongest soul masters who just smashed everything around. Ignorant barbarians even disfigured the monuments of the great heads of the Feixuan clan. They ruined all valuable items, seeking to destroy any memory of the clan. These actions looked insignificant and humiliating. Once a great and respected clan, it was now subjected to such insults. Such a thing was simply not acceptable, and it was necessary to put an end to this looting immediately. Jiang Cheng couldn't accept this. Leaving his followers, the brave young man promised to help and save the fading clan at all costs. At any cost, but he will win. The excited Jia Linghai only wished the teacher to return alive from the battlefield. She had never been so worried about her mentor. He was facing a difficult battle with serious enemies. The old head did not believe in the victory of the new one, because there were very strong opponents there, against whom Jiang Cheng had no chance. Cultivators and great elders who had already lived long enough were waiting for him on the battlefield. Old man Liang and his entourage did not even hope that the young man would be able to survive. Only the dear follower Jia Linghai convinced herself and others of her brother's victory. After all, in her eyes, he was a hero and was obliged to defeat the enemy no matter what. Jiang Cheng boldly rushed into the battlefield. The members of the great Qingdong sect immediately appeared before him, who did not even take the young man seriously. For them, he was another cannon fodder from Feixuan. But the hero knew that he had to win. Now it's his clan and he won't let the enemies invade. His confidence instilled hope and faith in other followers, who already recognized him as their leader without a doubt. Now it remained to believe and wait for a favorable outcome of events. The opponents decided to unite in order to crush the audacious Jiang Cheng for sure. But from their side it looked pathetic, because one-on-one for some reason they could not fight with the new head, but decided to attack the crowd meanly. The opponents used all their techniques and skills at once, releasing a powerful wave of magical energy. It seemed that this was the end for the hero. It was impossible to survive after such blows. According to Jiang Cheng's plan, he had to be killed first, so that after his resurrection, his strength would increase many times. That's what happened. However, after the guy's death, his desperate followers lost confidence in him and were ready to give up. Jiang Chen's system decided to give the opponents a thunderstorm that would turn everything into ashes. He burst out like a deity descended from heaven. The enemies could not believe that he had not died and had risen again. They were amazed by such a bright and unexpected appearance of the young man. Jiang Cheng said that as soon as he admits his weakness, he will immediately become invincible. Now they will definitely come to an end. Follower Jia Linghai knew and believed in her hero, and now she is definitely convinced of her great teacher. The girl was convinced that the young man could not disappoint her and the entire Feixuan clan. Summoning the power of thunder, the hero explained that thunder is the basis of the cultivation of heaven, and the sky at this moment becomes purple gold. Both enemies and friends were amazed by Jiang Chen's amazing technique. It was really devastating and crushing. The opponents didn't even have a chance. Here came the long-awaited victory, and the hero is an unknown young man who became their new head, on whom they could rely and entrust their lives to him. No one had any doubts about Jiang Cheng now. He proved in practice his determination and fortitude. The enthusiastic followers could not restrain their joy. At last they are free from prolonged attacks from other clans. At last they will find well-deserved peace and happiness. The clan members couldn't put into words how grateful they were to the hero. Jiang Cheng gained 355 new companions, for which the system gave him 1 point each. Now the guy faced an even greater responsibility, which he had to bear until the end of his days. Elder Liang received the new head and gave him the well-deserved honors. Now no one could resist the strength of the young man. and the phrase he threw about high blood sugar, which spread from the words of Jiang Cheng, firmly stuck with him and spoke of his power. Jiang Cheng decided to make an announcement in front of everyone about his new little plan, so he asked the whole clan to gather. The young man revealed that his goal was to defeat the 4 sects. He will carry out this plan together with his devoted followers. For the inspiring confidence and security, the new head, all the followers of the clan were ready to follow. They unanimously supported the hero in his small plan and were already eager to fight themselves. Being in an irreplaceable debt to the young man for saving the clan, its members agreed to provide any assistance or services. Jiang Cheng's joy knew no bounds. Now everyone believed the one she believed, first of all, herself. The girl admired the mentor's new ideas and plans every time. Finally, she was calm for her clan and people. The young man did not let down her faith and hope in him. That was the most important thing. In the eyes of the clan members, Jiang Cheng was truly a true hero and role model. Everyone was proud of their new head and could not help but recognize his strength and determination. What he did for them, without a doubt, confirmed his new status. The young man made an announcement that they would begin their conquests with the Moon Sect. Jiang Cheng wanted to poison himself on the mission, which the other followers were surprised at. They expected to go along with the new head and help him. After all, this was a dangerous business. The clan members were ready to accompany Jiang Cheng and give their lives for him if necessary. But the hero himself understood that with such a large group they would be instantly declassified. Therefore, Jiang Cheng decided to help the mentor negotiate with the followers. She convinced them that the newly liberated and miraculously saved house must be protected, because it is unknown what could threaten the clan again. The girl was undoubtedly right. Feixuan was weak and vulnerable to enemies, which means that the best solution would be to leave people to ensure safety. Finally, the followers agreed to stay and protect the house. It was now much more important than other tasks, everyone understood. Elder Liang decided to suggest that everyone follow him, be under his leadership, of course with the permission of the new head. The clan members appreciated the kind gesture of the respected old man and were ready to do it. But, understanding the elder's desire to take the clan into his own hands, Jiang Cheng said that he wanted to accompany him on a dangerous mission, explaining that with the presence of such a wise follower, he would have more confidence. And the guy managed to convince the old man to go with him. After the news of the stunning victory and the liberation of the Feixuan clan from the oppression of numerous clans, the Moon Sect was confused. They did not understand how they could defeat all 7 elders, especially Feixuan, who lost the most influential representatives of their clan. The members of the sect began to think about the Duanmu family's interference in this matter, because they have long maintained friendly ties with Feixuan. But even with their help, it was not possible to defeat the 7 elders of the Soul Master realm at once. Their conversations were interrupted by the unexpected and imminent visit of the new head of the Feixuan clan. The young man proudly looked at the members of the sect, and next to him was Elder Liang, who immediately entered into a dialogue with old acquaintances. The representatives of the Moon Sect got angry at the sight of Old Man Liang, because once they saved his life, and now he breaks into them clearly with bad intentions. Meanwhile, the elder introduced Jiang Cheng to the sect as the new head of the Feixuan clan, adding that he would deal with them quickly. Enraged by such brazen behavior, the followers of the Moon Sect did not stand on ceremony. They hastily grouped and struck. Weak and tired from endless battles, Elder Liang only cowardly hid behind Jiang Cheng's back, counting on his strength and might. There was nothing else he could do. But to win, the young man had to first give his life to become stronger. Therefore, seeing the head pierced through, Old Man Liang panicked, not ready for an early death. He understood that no one but the new head could save him. Watching Jiang Cheng fall, the Moon Sect got a taste of their victory. She directed her anger at the weak clan elder, surrounding him from all sides. The sect brutally dealt with the helpless Liang. Unexpectedly for everyone, the resurrected young man was endowed with the power of a one-time summoning, which was supposed to deal with his opponents. The sect did not take Jiang Cheng seriously, preparing to kill him again, but until they saw the terrifying creature summoned by the guy. A destructive force emanated from him, which caused everyone to panic. The action is transferred to the sacred Tiger Mountain. A beautiful rabbit girl named Inu appears among the dilapidated town. She has long hair, the color of a silver moon, from which large rabbit ears could be seen. The lady is wearing a blue dress that accentuates her radiant splendor. The girl's gaze made her enemies afraid. He was full of determination and courage, inherent only to her. Inu is strong and brave. She attacked Tiger Mountain alone, or rather, she had a score to settle with the owner of the mountain, the king of tigers himself. The king's subordinates were in fear when they saw a rabbit destroying their sacred place, and you wanted to challenge the three-eyed tiger ruler and teach him a lesson. He was unworthy of his place on the throne, because he thoughtlessly used the work of his subordinates and spent whole days having fun with girls. She considered the tiger a coward and a scoundrel who could only hide in his hiding place, exposing his comrades. During the pogrom of his own cave, the king rested impressively in his chambers, surrounded by lovely ladies. He was indifferent to the impending danger that threatened not only him, but all the tigers of the mountain. The ruler didn't care if the invading enemy destroyed the sacred place and caused irreparable damage. He didn't even pay attention to the taunts and ridicule from the impudent rabbit. The owner of the mountain understood perfectly well that he would not be able to overcome the self-confident girl. The poet decided to cowardly sit in his hiding place, despite the pleas of his subordinates, who asked the king to come out and deal with the uninvited guest. The tiger reacted to this in cold blood. At such a moment, the servants began to think that the previous king was much better and would be able to protect them. Unexpectedly for the king, a portal appeared right in front of him, talking about the release of the new rabbit. All the subordinates scattered in different directions. They did not know at all what to do next. The ruler was going to escape through a secret exit, but the newly appeared portal suddenly began to suck in the tiger. His followers could not help their king in any way. He simply disappeared into an unknown golden gate. As it turned out, this portal was caused by the very call of the main character, and now a furious tiger, torn away from home, was ready to tear and throw everyone around. He did not understand who dared to disturb him and drag him into someone else's showdown. Jiang Cheng was undoubtedly glad that the system's summons had arrived. He met the tiger with open arms. The guy immediately announced his goal. It was necessary to deal with the members of the Moon Sect. The king was not pleased with such a sudden and distant challenge on the battlefield. He was about to kill the one who summoned him, when suddenly a peal of heavenly thunder sounded above the tiger, warning about the contract, according to which the heavens would severely punish the ruler of the mountain for the death of the owner. The followers of the Moon Sect completely angered the Tiger King, considering him an inferior demon, and words about quick reprisals. The three-eyed man's eyes flashed like sparks of anger. Now he had fully gathered all his strength and was ready to strike a decisive blow. The Moon Sect realized too late who was in front of them. The tiger had already managed to defeat them with one swipe of its claws. The demon knew exactly what he was doing and worked with a bang. Jiang Cheng did not expect such a quick victory. He was surprised by the strength and ferocity of the king. The young man considered the tiger an excellent fighter and wanted to take him with him, but the ruler had unfinished business on his mountain, where the rabbit was still causing trouble. Therefore, he just had to go back. Tiger decided to find out where the guy called him to assess the scale of the disaster. Kingland Mansion, Feiyan Mainland were decently far from his home, so the king was very puzzled. Getting home from this place was not easy. It was a long way to go. Having asked not to call him again, the ruler hurried away. But Jiang Cheng still had plans for the tiger in the future. He was not going to just let him go, which was expected from a young, intelligent young man. It's time to collect rewards from the task. Having defeated the great sect of the moon, the hero received many valuable bonuses and resources. And also, his energy has increased significantly. Now he has definitely become invincible. The guy himself was surprised every time by his increasing combat skills and abilities. Jiang Cheng decided to spend his energy on playing the lottery. Now he believed in his luck more than ever. After such a successful victory, it was a sin not to play. With a bright flash, the new artifacts he won from the lottery began to appear in front of the hero. Among them were the most valuable, the Jade Immortal Robe, a 9-star weapon that blocks many attacks, a first-level teleport that allows you to randomly teleport to any place within a radius of 10,000 miles. A joyful Jiang Cheng thought that he was very lucky, blaming it on luck that had been following him all day. And he was clearly right. The remaining members of the Moon Sect after the battle were amazed that the Demon King was in the Feichuan clan. After all, this is simply impossible. Those followers who were able to hide from the tiger's powerful attack survived. Now they hurriedly came out of hiding, wondering at the scale of the damage to their land. The members of the sect were horrified to realize that they had been destroyed in just one strike. They just had to check the safety of their treasury, because that's all they had left. But the new head emptied the entire treasury of enemies, leaving not a single spiritual stone. The sect was astonished by such brazen and barbaric behavior of the Feichuan clan. After all, at least they had to leave a consolation prize. At this time, with a bag full of treasures, the hero was on his way home. He was pleased with himself with his next flawless victory. Now his plans were to subdue the remaining sects, and the system will help him in this. I am developing a survival plan. The whole clan idly met the head. There wasn't a single follower who didn't come out to see Jiang Cheng. Worried, Jai Linghai was the first to run up to the winner to find out how everything went. With a serious and regretful look, the head reported that he had successfully carried out revenge and defeated the Moon Sect. But Elder Liang died during the mission. There were tears on Jiang Chen's face. He was really sorry and he blamed himself for it, because despite the differences, Old Man Liang supported him in battle and proudly stood up, defended his clan. The followers, seeing such a reaction of the young man, began to calm their head, saying that it was not his fault, and it was very difficult to fight together against an entire sect. The clan members decided to cultivate diligently to honor the spirit of the elder in heaven. They did not want to forget about the deceased and thus decided to pay tribute to his memory. Such a sad event awakened in the followers an even greater desire for revenge. They became even fiercer. The common grief united them and made them stronger. Now they have a strong leader who will take them to a new level. In order to become truly better and carry out a revenge plan, Jiang Cheng decided that the clan members simply needed good weapons and materials. Therefore, he presented all his treasures obtained after the battle with the sect for everyone to see, explaining this by the fact that the head does not want to hide anything from his brothers. All the followers were decently surprised to see such generosity and giving. They became even happier and were convinced of the correct choice of the head of the clan. And Jiang Cheng added that he was not interested in treasures. His dream was to give everyone a blessing. Jai Linghai now saw not only the strong side of the teacher, but also his kind and open soul, ready to help everyone and give joy. She was also stunned by the guy's act this time, because in other sects, if a follower wants to receive a reward, he must make some contribution. And he distributed valuable materials to everyone just like that. It was an incredibly generous gesture, worthy of a head. Jiang Cheng exclaimed that it would now be an integral part of the Fakeshuan clan. Everyone will share with each other and work together. Of course, everyone was happy with this turn of events. The new head not only freed the clan, but also nobly distributes gifts, giving away all his treasures. The young man began to distribute valuables to everyone. First, the guys from the clan, who had not even had a blade before, took the weapon for themselves. And now they have become the owners of high-level swords, with which young people will overcome many enemies. A beautiful girl with pink hair named Xiao Zhu grabbed the level 4 cold steel weapon she had been dreaming about for so long. Jiang Cheng intervened and decided that a more valuable sword was more suitable for such a beautiful lady, the treasure of the 6th level Qingya Moon Sect. This elegant blade really was more to the girl's face. Xiao Zhu did not believe her luck and wanted to give the sword to the head, because he deserves it more. But Jiang Cheng assured the follower of the right choice of weapons. The new head called another girl over and gave her the wind armor of a 5th level Moon Sect elder. The young lady burst into tears with happiness. She thought it was probably a dream. The girl had never been so happy. Quickly gathering herself and calming down in front of the clan head, she sincerely thanked Jiang Cheng for such a valuable gift. Thus, the new head made many of his friends happy and safe. This further strengthened their trusting relationship. Seeing all this, Jai Linghai thought that they had forgotten about her, but the guy called out to the girl. In his hands was an unknown bundle of purple fabric. He added that it would definitely suit his lady. The bundle of cloth was a level 9 immortal's robe, the one that the young man had won in the lottery. Jiang Cheng decided to give such an important artifact to his closest follower. At the same hour, the guy sent the girl to change clothes to enjoy the majestic outfit on the cute Jai Linghai. The girl who changed clothes looked charming in a rather open purple suit. It emphasized the smooth curves of her body. The wonderful garment was complemented by an elegant flower of the same bloom as everything else. In it, Jai Linghai was like an oriental princess. Her face showed embarrassment and modesty, because this is the first time a young lady wears such an outfit. Jiang Cheng had no doubt appreciated the dress on the beautiful follower. He couldn't take his eyes off her, studying every detail with his eyes. The thought even flashed through his mind that he had definitely never seen such a superbly fabulous girl. The costume brought down Jai Linghai's splendor, showing not only her beauty, but also her kind, determined disposition. Jai Linghai said with restraint that in the Fakeshuan clan, no one else has 9th level clothes like she has now. She considered herself not worthy of such an honor and said that the head of the dress was more suitable. But such a feminine dress clearly did not suit the strong-willed Jiang Cheng. Nevertheless, the girl insisted on her own, saying that the elders of different sects themselves often wear similar costumes. The young man was shocked to imagine a powerful, old man in a cute dress. He wouldn't wear that for anything. Jiang Cheng noticed how incredibly the spiritual power of the clan had increased, because everything had been destroyed not so long ago. Jai Linghai reported that these are all the works of the head's daughter, Dahyun. She not only restored the spiritual impulse, but raised it from the 2nd to the 3rd level. It was impressive. The young man could not even imagine that his little artifact could even change nature. Pride overwhelmed the young father. The guy found his benefactress in complete safety, resting in the cave of energy. The joyful girl immediately noticed the mom who came and told that she would be able to raise her spiritual power to another level if Jiang Cheng found even more fragments of energy. The caring father could not get enough of Dahyun's work done and rewarded her with delicious spiritual stones. The baby was delighted with such a portion of sweet and enjoyed the treat to her heart's content. At this time, everyone gathered in the main hall of the Fakeshuan clan and waited for the head. Jiang Cheng gathered them in order to inform them about new appointments for clan members, because they have entered a new historical period, which means they should be more persistent in their affairs. The pink-haired girl Xiao Zhu was appointed by the head of finance. Now she has a huge responsibility. Followers congratulated the lady on her appointment, and she herself could not believe that she would finally be in office. A capable guy named Luo Yun was appointed to the position of head of public affairs, that is, responsible for the projects of the clan. Surprised, Luo Yun was inspired by his new job. He promised Jiang Cheng to follow his instructions unquestioningly, because now he considered himself a right-hand man. An incredible boost for such a simple follower. Finally, the young man turned to Jai Linghai. From now on, she will be the main one in the clan, solve all the main issues and listen to the needs of citizens. The closest follower was worthy of this title. And again, the new head generously gifted all his followers, demonstrating to them, once again, his noble character and desire only to make their lives better. Congratulating and wishing everyone good luck, Jiang Cheng announced the decision to storm the Xuanbing and Ule sects tomorrow. It's time to get even with them. The head gave an order that some would stay here, while others would go on a mission with him. This news inspired the followers, because finally they will be able to take part in the battle and help their benefactor. The next day, when they arrived at the Xuanbing sect, the Fakeshuan clan noticed that they were waiting for their attack and were ready to defend themselves. Several elders stood guard, waiting for the enemies. Noticing Jiang Cheng, the sect members noted that he was alone and decided that no one would help him now, and they would quickly deal with the arrogant young man. But the guy himself knows that he always coped alone, without anyone's help. However, now there was an entire clan behind him, now his clan, every member of which believed in him. This knowledge gave the hero strength. One of the elders of the sect was confident in the strength and invincibility of the Xuanbing sect, and they were resolutely ready to destroy the arrived head of the Fakeshuan clan. After surrounding Jiang Cheng, Xuanbing began to carry out a special attack. Forming a circle, they imprisoned the young man in an ice prison. This technique was one of the secret and forbidden. And again, the guy was attacked by a group. The hero was frozen solid in the prison of ice, and the enemies already felt victory. As usual, it was with the opponents of the young man, first the triumph of triumph, and then bitter disappointment. Only the closest one, Jai Linghai, knew about this secret. The system has developed a survival plan for Jiang Cheng, just like in the last battle, a one-time call. The guy immediately had a familiar feeling inside and a feeling of the powerful energy of an old friend. At this time, the Demon King was already 9,000 miles away, on his way home. He was still angry that he had been called so far away, and not brought back. There should be justice and fair exchange, but you can't go against the system. Getting home took a long amount of time, and the path was difficult and difficult. The familiar golden light of the summoning portal snatched the tiger out of his thoughts. Having spent more than a day on the way back, he is again called on a mission. This irritated the king even more, but it was impossible to resist. Already desperate, the three-eyed tiger was coming up with a plan of revenge for his summoner. The stunned faces of the enemies in front of the newly resurrected deity reminded Jiang Cheng of his superiority. The main character appeared with a smile on his face, convinced of his next brilliant victory. The main thing now is to get along with the tiger again. After all, he was the key to his success. The members of the sect could not imagine that the deceased had suddenly come to life. They even got the idea that the young man was just pretending and tricked them all around his finger. But this was just one of the steps of Jiang Chen's flawless plan. The long-awaited Tiger King has finally arrived at the battlefield. The cultivator guy met the demon again with a smile and politely asked for forgiveness for such another unexpected call. Emerging from the bright portal, the tiger grabbed Jiang Cheng by the breasts, growling angrily about his indignation. The young man was even a little scared by such a hostile attitude of his seemingly friend. He was determined to establish contact with the demon, because his help would be useful in the future. Three-Eyed was once again struck by heavenly lightning, reminding him of the punishment for violating the contract. On the verge of despondency, the tiger tried his best to keep himself in control and keep calm, because the more he thinks about it, the more angry he gets. The best thing in such a situation was to accept the fact that you will not go against the will of heaven. The Demon King, having thrown aside his master, decided to begin the task and deal with the Xuanbing sect. The sooner he coped, the sooner he would get home. The followers of the sect, horrified, could not reason out where the Feixuan clan had a huge demon. They hurriedly began to prepare for battle. In a panic, the members of the sect simply scattered in different directions. Finally, having gathered, they decided to perform the previous technique, to imprison the tiger in an ice prison. After all, in this way they easily got rid of Jiang Cheng, so it will be the same with his demon. Jiang Cheng was worried for the king, because he was his only trump card and weapon. His own life depended on the tiger. The guy hurriedly told the tiger about the method of killing opponents in order to somehow help him. But the strong demon didn't need anyone's help at all. The ice prison covered the demon with its head. It would seem that this is a deadly attack. But the king, with a smile on his face, managed to free himself from prison by repelling it with a bright technique. He spread his paws to the sides, releasing a bright light with his claws, thereby throwing off the enemies and weakening their positions. The next attack was decisive for the Xuanbing sect. The tiger, with a movement of one paw, fiercely released glowing cutting rays that finally finished off the members of the sect. A dazzling victory, as were his attacks. The opponents, pathetically scattered in all directions, fallen under the onslaught of the Demon King. Jiang Cheng was delighted with his friend's enchanting techniques. No wonder the system gave him such a high-quality appeal. He was grateful for such a strong and powerful demon. Having finished with the task, the tiger warned the guy not to dare to call him again. After all, no one will bring him back home. He will have to get there himself, and this is a very long way. But the joyful Jiang Cheng was in no hurry to let go of the owner of the mountain. He invited him to stay and join the Feixuan clan. It was prestigious, because Feixuan is an ancient clan with a rich history and culture which ranks first among the rest. Such a strong ally would benefit and strengthen the clan's fighting power. Of course, it was an impressive offer which is difficult to refuse. But the Demon King was already tired of the tasks and errands of heaven that were called because of Jiang Cheng. He wanted to go home, because there were still riots there that needed to be settled. Therefore, the proud three-eyed tiger hurriedly retreated in the radiant light. Jiang Chen's mission was successful, and his current points were 58-0. The Xuanbing sect brought not bad earnings, but the next step was to go to another sect, the Hive. Jiang Cheng descended to the followers of the Hive directly from heaven, catching the admiring glances of its inhabitants. The young man immediately made them understand why he came. He demanded immediate surrender. The common people were in panic and horror, completely not understanding what they should do. After all, the fame of Jiang Cheng had spread throughout the entire dimension, and meeting such a strong opponent was frightening. The great guardians of the sect did not even think of giving up. They won't give up without a fight. But one of the elders was dissatisfied with such brazen behavior of his brethren. After all, he believed that he should behave more appropriately, and arrange negotiations, and not get into trouble. Elder Ule knelt before the head of the Feixuan clan and began trying to negotiate peace. He said that he understands the feeling of revenge of the offended clan and wants to discuss everything calmly. After all, only a kind conversation will help to truly resolve all differences and make the right decision. And the wise old man was right. However, the proud Jiang Cheng, who knew perfectly well why he had come, was not going to retreat. The followers of Elder Uli were divided into two camps. Some believed that the old man was too patient, and others that he was behaving worthy of his title. Unable to withstand the persistent and determined pressure of the enemy who arrived, the elder ordered to immediately engage in battle, as Jiang Cheng wanted. Despite his self-control and willingness to compromise, the sect elder decided not to delay any longer and proceed with the attack. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, in the holy land of Jingyuan, the Demon King staged a real pogrom, being in need of a teleporter to get home faster. The last of the remaining locals tried to reason with the tiger because he dared to touch the holy lands. But the demon, exhausted by recent tasks, could not think of anything but how to return to his mountain and rest. He finished off the last survivor and hurried to open the teleport. Tiger couldn't even imagine the upcoming meeting. Now the familiar bright light began to appear over the three-eyed. He didn't notice that it was the same ill-fated summoning portal, and he was just glad, and was already ready to return home. Inspired by the feeling of returning home, The tiger has already begun to dream about how he will spend his vacation. First, enjoy a large and sweet watermelon, and then relax and sleep enough on his usual bed. Opening his eyes, the king was abruptly transported to reality. In front of him stood a painfully familiar young man with a slightly awkward smile, ready to ask the demon for help again. Jiang Cheng was already uncomfortable with the demon's frequent calls, but it was he who played the main role in carrying out his revenge plan. It was necessary to find a compromise with the tiger. Without having time to portray indignation and despair, the demon king gave up, realizing that nothing could be done. He was tired of his endless challenges on the battlefield and was now more beside himself than ever. His evil and overwhelming aura spread throughout the area, causing the enemies to tremble in fear. The members of the sect of the Hive immediately realized who was in front of them, the Demon King himself. They also taught him about his strength and superiority, realizing their insignificance in front of such an opponent. With a furious cry, the tiger began to storm the sect. His 3 eyes glowed with a bright flame of anger, and his fangs became even larger. His impetuous and powerful charge from the eyes plunged all the enemies to smithereens. They didn't even have time to do anything. The Demon King was indignant because he could not kill his master, which meant that he could only do his errands. Just like that, he lived quietly on the sacred mountain, and now he is forced to fight against his will, obeying a small cultivator. Not at all a fitting fate for a Demon King. The defeated followers of the sect of the Hive flew into the air, along with the nearby buildings. The battlefield turned into a place where a terrible hurricane swept away everything in its path. The tiger still hadn't forgotten his grudge against the cultivator. He was ready to kill him at any moment, but the cunning Jiang Cheng reminded the demon of the contract and the punishment of heaven, and that was the only thing stopping him. Suddenly, the 3-eyed demon flew up and immediately collapsed to the ground. So, he wanted to pretend that he was dead, because then the guy would stop calling him and finally leave him alone. The tiger's fall caused a powerful wave of noise, and even rocks broke under the weight of his body. Death looked convincing. Upset, Jiang Cheng believed in the tragic death of the ruler of the mountain. He was very sorry, because he understood that part of it was his fault. With his frequent calls, he disabled the tiger and undermined its vital energy. After a successful battle, the guy's system level rose to the 3rd, and after the next level increase, he will have a new skill. He will be able to rise, and Jiang Cheng will also be able to invest his points in a certain person, thus transferring part of his strength to him. An image of Jai Linghai immediately appeared in the young man's mind. The girl was dear to him, and for her sake he was ready to spend all his points. Saddened by the tiger's death, Jiang Cheng paid homage to him by praying over the sacred fire. He promised that when he moves to a new level, he will definitely help his friend. The guy felt that he just had to do it. Summing up, Jiang Cheng realized that his mission was coming to an end. After the collapse of the moon sects, Xuanbing and Ule, the last of the main ones, remained. The young man was looking forward to a quick taste of success. After all, everything was going according to his plan. After saying goodbye once again to the deceased demon, who had already become a friend, Jiang Cheng set off on his way. After making sure that the owner had definitely left, the cunning Demon King began to grin at the naive guy. And now he was definitely convinced that he would not be called up again, because Jiang Cheng thinks that he is dead. Meanwhile, in the remaining Tenyang sect, everyone was in a panic. The returning spies reported the fall of the Ule and Xuanbing sects. Elder Tenyang Fei assured his people that it was not worth worrying at all, because their sect was still the main one and it could not be defeated by some youngster. But their courage was undermined by the expected visit of the head of the Feixuan clan. Seeing the young man, Elder Fei assumed that there was definitely someone standing behind him and protecting him, which is why the guy is so bold and fearless. After all, it was hard to believe that a young cultivator alone could destroy entire sects. Jiang Cheng did not stand on ceremony. He immediately challenged the elder to a fight. With just a swing of the sword, bursting into red rays, Old Man Fei dealt with the arrogant youth. An experienced man deftly wielded his weapon. He looked stately and courageous, despite his years. The rest just watched admiringly, honed over the years, perfectly accurate techniques. The vigilant elder was alerted by Jiang Chen's death so soon, and then he thought that the members of the Feixuan clan had set up an ambush. To make sure to finish off the intruders, he attacked the place where the ambush was supposed to be. The old man directed the furious blows to a certain place, but by chance, the formidable man destroyed the protective field that guarded their entire sect. The followers were horrified by such a rash act of their elder. Having destroyed the seal of protection, they were all threatened with the end by the stupidity of their own colleague. The newly sealed stones rained down on the Tenyang sect like a punishment from heaven. The destroyed security system failed and began to strike at the sect. All the followers scattered in different directions, trying to hide from the powerful rockfall. Everything caught fire and burst into flames in an instant. The raging fire covered the entire territory of the Holy Lands, turning any obstacles in its path into dust. The dissatisfied members of the sect blamed Elder Feng for everything, and they were right. Through his fault, they were left completely unprotected, and even died from their own weapons. But, convinced of his opinion, the old man told his followers that he had destroyed the enemy's ambush, and now they were in no danger. The elder blindly believed his intuition, which never failed. Not stupid members of the sect understood that there was no ambush, and their leader behaved too impulsively. And at that time, the dead Jiang Cheng was wondering what to do next, because the system would activate a one-time summon for him again. But the tiger was dead. More precisely, he thought so, because he saw the deceased demon with his own eyes. He even mourned his friend, paying tribute to him over the ritual fire. Therefore, the young man thought that his system had failed, sending him a deceased tiger to call. However, the resurrection was successful, and the poor demon king was summoned to Jiang Cheng again. He didn't even say anything anymore and wasn't indignant, because it wasn't much use. Tiger immediately got down to business, directing all his anger at the guy's opponents. With one powerful blow of his paw, he knocked out the members of the Tanyang sect. The poor followers didn't have a chance to get together and develop a new battle strategy. The Demon King just didn't give them a chance. Finally, the three-eyed tiger decided to turn to his master. He wanted to know how many invocations he still had in stock, because it would be better to use them all at once, rather than running back and forth. Especially the demon did not want to be called out on a mission again and again at the most inopportune moment. This usually happened when he was already halfway home. But Jiang Cheng himself did not know the answer, because the summoning technique was new to him, and he could not yet fully understand it, and understand how to control it. The tiger was not happy with such a wasteful use of his power. He was already in the penultimate place in the ranking among the demon kings, and now he is afraid to be in the last. He does not intend to tolerate such humiliation. Immediately, the king began to complain about why he was chosen, because the king of dragons and monkeys is much stronger. These kings were of higher rank and were considered invincible. And also, the tiger mentioned the rabbit Yinyu, who recently invaded his domain. She was not so much strong as pretty. Her stunning face and figure would make anyone tremble. Jiang Cheng began to console the Tiger King and offered to go to the clan, where his help would definitely not be superfluous. In response to the friendly gesture of the guy, the tiger slipped away, saying at the same time that he would definitely find a way to take revenge on him. Namely, he decided to start with the Fakeshuan clan, because there the young man would be most vulnerable. The tiger has matured a cunning plan on how to get the young man out of himself. Meanwhile, after receiving the expected points for the task, Jiang Cheng hurried to his clan. Now he was an absolute winner to be proud of. In high spirits, the hero returns home. Their leader destroyed 3 sects alone in just a day. They couldn't stop their admiration. The followers called it the true strength of the Fakeshuan clan. The people proudly pronounced words of honor to the high sugar in the blood of their master. The funny phrase now personified the strong spirit of the guy. The Demon King infiltrated the clan and hid in an ambush on the roof of the mansion. He was waiting for the right moment to attack. The sly man was like a real tiger on the hunt, chasing his prey. At this time, the followers of the clan rejoiced at the appearance of the head, praising his achievements. The tiger ruler was annoyed that all the glory and respect went to Jiang Cheng, but it was the demon who did all the dirty and tedious work. In his place, anyone would be angry, because this is a blatant injustice. The elated Jiang Cheng was handing out rewards to his followers at this time, and especially the equipment and weapons that each of the clan members should have. The head remembered each of them and never forgot. Dahyun appeared, with a smile on her face, dragging an unknown creature by the leg, calling him a new pet. The baby looked happy, because she had long dreamed of having a dog. Finally, her wish came true. The strange-looking beast turned out to be the Demon King, whose ambush was unsuccessful. He even shrank in size because his strength was easily suppressed by the new mistress. The plan to commit revenge has clearly failed. Now, the formidable Tiger King was no different from a domestic cat. The girls of the clan immediately noticed a new member of the clan, who looked like a cute cat. In the reduced size, the tiger looked incredibly adorable. The Demon King, and now a pet, and I wanted to squeeze in my arms. After many years of grief and upheaval, the fair sex of the clan could relax and just enjoy communicating with a previously unseen animal. Dahyun interrupted the young ladies, clarifying that before them was not a cat at all, but a dog. After all, it was she who brought the pet. Three-Eyed resisted the tenderness, calling himself the king of tigers and the king of beasts, which is not appropriate for such an attitude. The tiger's plummeting status clearly deeply wounded his self-esteem and hurt the ruler's pride. But the girls didn't care who he was, because they had never seen such a wonderful creature. They cheerfully carried him in their arms, calling him cute and charming. From such caring touches, even the Demon King melted and purred, although he did not understand what happened to his voice. Once a formidable ruler of tigers, he was now in the arms of unknown beauties. After all, Three-Eyed managed to escape from the gentle female hands. When Jiang Cheng came up, he offered to check and compare their strength in the competition. Tiger challenged him to a one-on-one duel. Now let's see who the real house cat is here.